Welcome back, everybody. It's been forever since I've streamed, and it's because I've been insanely busy and I've been trying to figure out how to balance like giving quality content of like this process of making a product versus the time I have left to get my product to launch, which is not enough. And so I'm way behind, and like every minute that I steal from that, like I'm extending my timeline out. But I've been dying to stream and share. Like I've had tons of people reach out and say they love the content and more content. And to be perfectly frank, I want to help everybody out, but the most important thing that I'm trying to focus on is getting my product to market and delivered. And so that's taking priority. However, I do think about how can I balance those things and achieve both goals at the same time. And the urge just was too strong to get back on and stream some of this for those that, again, are interested in this kind of content and that it could be helpful to them. Because if there's one thing I'm learning as I've gone through this process is beyond the technical, like all of the business learning and things that are outside of like writing lines of code, there's not a lot of information about just normal people like me. I consider myself a normal person going through this process. Like it's mostly startup glamour and VC money and all this other stuff versus like a guy with a checking account that has to pay his mortgage and also trying to figure out how to start a hardware company. And so I want to share that information for the me's that are out there that might stumble across this content. And so I don't know how that's going to work or if it's going to work, but I feel like I've got to try. My kids love announcing on the devices and it just streams right into my office. So I apologize for that. So I'm going to figure that out. Today is not a technical one. It is I got things to say to you people being the government of the United States and politicians, I guess, worldwide. But you can see on my screen here, we're at the Office of the United States Trade Representative, and we're talking about how to navigate the Section 301 tariff process. And what spurred this was I have everything I need to assemble my product, which again, for those that maybe are new to the channel, it is a puck holder like this. Oh, I'm having a hard time. It's been a while since I've streamed to get the angles correct here. That contains some hardware, a little display to show stats that you can use as a prime example. Somebody recently gave me an incredible gift, which was a signed Washington Capitals hockey puck. He was like, somebody gave it to me years ago. I don't know who signed it. I know you're a Capitals fan and you want it. That signature is Braden Holtby, Vezina winning Stanley Cup champion Braden Holtby, which is amazing. And what's also amazing is you can take a puck like this. Lots of fans have things like this. You put it on your puck holder like this. Ooh, turn it like that. And this is the idea of the product. You got a screen that'll show Braden Holtby's stats or his team stats. He's not a member of the Washington Capitals anymore, unfortunately. But you get the idea. That's the product. And let me put this back up on my shelf. I have everything I need to assemble my first run of these, which is going to be 500 units. I've got batteries, I've got enclosures, custom plastic injection molding enclosures, I've got the displays, I've got adhesive to put all this stuff together, everything to assemble it, except, let me find it, right here. The printed circuit boards that are the heart and soul of these things. Epsilon 2, what's up? Oh, yeah, man, I appreciate you coming in and saying hi. Yeah, this will definitely be up on YouTube afterwards, so I appreciate you stopping by to say thanks. You're very welcome. Trying to do my best to balance content. Thanks so much for stopping by, and you got to drop off. Have a great rest of your day, and catch it on YouTube afterwards. So I have everything except for the printed circuit boards, and I ordered those and from PCBWay, which I've shared some of that on the channel here. And The package was coming through DHL like every package. You can't see over here, but I have boxes that are starting to stack up of all the raw materials to assemble these things. And I get these from DHL mostly, sometimes FedEx, mostly DHL. Well, to my surprise, PCBWay sent me an email last week saying, hey, there's an issue. Your package is stuck in customs. You need to reach out to DHL and provide them more information so your package is not returned or abandoned. That is normal. Sometimes these things will get stuck. They will call, and if it's under a business, they will want your federal tax ID number, or they will want your social security number if it is just a personal package. That's been hit or miss. Sometimes they come straight through, sometimes they get held up. And then once you provide that information to the shipper, in the case that this happened with FedEx prior, they won't need it anymore, they'll have it on file. I made a video a while back about how FedEx called me and said, hey, we've got your package, you owe us $200 and then we'll deliver it to you. And I was like, what the heck is that? But what could I do? I paid $200. Well, I, again, have been getting these boxes, large orders, lots of money coming in. My last box of printed circuit boards coming from PCBWay, the heart and soul of this product, makes it into the United States last week. I get that message saying you got to reach out to DHL, provide information. No big deal. I've done this before. I do that and they say, great, we'll go ahead and get that all on file and let you know if we need anything else. That normally takes 1 to 3 business days. We'll get back to you. The next day, I get an email from DHL saying, your package is all set. All you have to do is pay us $2,000 and we will deliver it to you. $2,000. And I was like, what the heck? There must be some sort of misunderstanding. So I reached out to DHL and was transferred to their duties and customs department and was told very kindly, oh, yeah, that's because your package came from China and its declared value is over $800, and so you owe a 25% tariff on the declared value, which in this case is over $8,000. Do the math, it's over $2,000 in tariffs that I owe. Well, I go into panic mode, like $2,000. I'm looking, back to the start of this video where I'm saying, I don't have like call up the VCs and be like, hey, no big deal. I got like $20 million in the bank. Just pay the $2,000 and move on. Like that's like $2,000 is a lot of money for where I'm sitting right now. And this spun off a research. My package is still stuck, by the way. It is no longer in customs. And so this is the stuff I want to share so that other people that are going through this maybe have a little bit of knowledge ahead of time, because this isn't something, at least in the hours and hours and hours of research I've done over the last few days, is readily available and like delivered in a way that's easy to digest. And I'm still not there, but I want to share what I'm going through so maybe it can help somebody else. I derailed myself saying I want to help other people, like where I was 20 seconds ago. I immediately went into what can I do to not have to pay this $2,000, and where is this guy? I even told the person on the phone, I'm like, I don't want to self-incriminate. I've gotten packages over $800 from China that I have paid zero on. And I was told by DHL, yes, there has been in the last month or so a huge crackdown on that. Packages were slipping through before, but right now they are inspecting every single package that comes out of every container and off of every flight. And if it has China on the country of origin, the declared value is over 800, they're getting their money. And so I'm trying to figure out, I call up and say, like, how is this calculated? And that's what they told me. China over 800, tariff. 25%. Like this is, they have that on repeat at DHL, or I'm sure every other shipper. Like when I tried to ask questions, it's just, no, it's over 800, China, 25% tariff, got to pay it. My package is out of customs at this point because I got an email from my local distribution center saying, we have your package, you just have to pay the duties and fees and then we'll deliver it to you. Which tells me it's not in the customs process. And the way this works, and FedEx was the same way, is as a service to our customers, they pay the tariff for you, get it out of customs, get it on its way to you. but then they'll stop it at last mile until you've paid them back. So in this case, and I did all of the legwork on this because I was at first like, DHL is trying to screw me over here and I'm not having it. And so I had actually asked DHL, I'm like, are you telling me that you paid this? Because I know my package isn't in customs. You paid this, and now you're asking me to pay you back for it? And they're like, yes, that's correct, sir. I was like, can you please give me the receipt from customs that shows that you paid that? Yes, sir. Can you give us an email address? And like 30 seconds later, I had the receipt from the Department of Homeland Security, Customs, blah, 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 that showed DHL had paid my 25% tariff on my package. So at this point, it's a matter of DHL saying, like, we're not delivering that thing last mile until you've paid us back for the tariff. Or what I found out, because I went into panic mode, you can dispute this in several ways. You can dispute back to customs to say, oh, the declared value was wrong, or the HTS code is wrong. And I'm going to talk about that more in a minute. I'm going to try and limit this because I don't have all day to explain everything here, but I'm just trying to give enough information to, like I said, help somebody else along. When your package comes into the United States, the shipper can place an HTS code on it. This is called a harmonized tariff schedule code, where they decide based on what's in the package, there's an 8 or 10 digit code that is applied to that. Now, many packages do not have a code applied. When they reach customs, a customs agent will just apply an HTS code to it. And what the HTS code does is it initiates whether you owe duties and fees or tariffs on that. And so after all this research, I found out that 2 HTS codes were applied to my package. One was assigned by a customs agent, that carried 0 tariff. The other was it came from China, it's over $800, automatic application of HTS code 9903.88.03, and that is the code that triggers you owe us 25%. And this, you may have heard about the ongoing trade war with China. This is a part of that. And the thing that I hate about this is that it is not something that is meant for small businesses to navigate. My first inclination was like, there is no way Apple, Samsung, like all these big TV makers, LG, Asus, that they are paying a 25% tariff on everything that's coming into the country. And based on some research, that's not entirely true. They are being hit with this. However, as I found out in my research today, Apple is getting around this by simply, building factories in other countries that don't have the problem that China does. So as DHL explained, if this was coming from any other country on the planet, there would be no 25%. Like the 25% auto tariff doesn't kick in. It's just China. So when you're Apple and you have like infinity money, you just build factories in neighboring countries in Asia and problem solved. I don't have that luxury. Now I could look at suppliers in those countries, but again, I also don't have the buying power to do that. So that's when I say not very friendly for small businesses to navigate. The other thing that I do not have is lobbying power. So I just want to cover this very quickly. This isn't meant to be a how to navigate the tariff process, but this is what you're going to run into when you get to this. Because the first thing I did was how do I get around this? And I found out, there are HTS codes that if they apply to your package are tariff free. And what you will find is if you come to the how to navigate the Section 301 tariff process, you will see that there are 4 separate tariff actions that have been enacted by the United States. The $34 billion tariff action, the $16 billion, the $200 billion, and the $300 billion. Every single one of these are linked down here. 34, 16, 200, 300. Let's just click on one of them. They all look the same. And you'll see, here was the proposed tariff action, the date of it, hearings, and then if you come into here, there is a exclusion process, and it will say, here we go, exclusions granted. Exclusions granted on August 7th, 2019, September 20th. You can see all of these exclusions. I even found the source federal Excel spreadsheet of here's every company that requested an exemption for which HTS code and whether it has been granted or denied. The large majority, are denied. And so let's just For example, for just the $200 billion trade, remember this is list 3 of 4, there's 4 lists, you have all of these documents. All right, let's look and see what kind of exclusions are granted on December 17th, 2019. You click on that, and you're just wall of text. Like, there is no easily digestible version of this. And so you got to come through here, and hopefully you're a speed reader, to cover the hundreds and hundreds of pages that are available on this. And if you come down, oh, here's the section right here. Normally they look like this. They're like in parentheses, 10, 11, 12. Like, here are things that I believe, this is in the right section, are exempt. And you can go through and you can see there's lots of stuff in here, like electrical household table lamps with bases of wood presented with shades not more than 64 centimeters in height, each weighing not more than 3 kilograms, described in statistical reporting number this. This is the HTS code. So if your package comes into the United States from China and has 9405.20.8010, I know that's really small on my screen, but customs will get it and say that HTS code is exempt from the 25% tariff, no tariff required. However, as you go through a lot of these, you will find, again, you have to be reading all of the fine print here, and it's all fine print. It's not like it's the main thing and then the fine print. The whole document's the fine print. It will tell you the expiration date. And I'm not going to waste your time by finding it. Here we go, right here. The product exclusions announced in this notice will apply as of September 24th, 2018 to August 7th, 2020. So what I did was I frantically searched for an HTS exemption code and found one that related to like communicating mobile hotspot, which this chip is completely functional as well as another one which was printed circuit boards of less than 3 layers within a certain price range. I mean, these things are crazy specific when you read them. As far as like the height, like here, telescoping multi-position ladders of aluminum, each with maximum reach height of 4.2 meters or more, but not over 7.9 meters. Like, how do we come up? Why isn't it 8 meters or 4.3 meters? Like, I don't even know where this stuff comes from. And so the PCB exemption was for something that this would completely fall into. I submitted a dispute with DHL. They took it to customs. I realized later that evening, again, they give you a timeline until your package is being abandoned or returned. And so this is all time sensitive. Be aware of that. If your package gets stuck because of any of this, you have days to resolve it or pay them. And so I found a code that was exempt, but I found out later that evening that the exemption had expired. Sure enough, this morning, actually, I heard back from DHL, which says, hey, I'm sorry, your dispute with customs was denied under the grounds that it is expired. In addition, the custom broker agent said that the HTS code that I filed my dispute under is not valid for my package, which is a very interesting space to get into, and I'm still learning this, is how does a random custom broker have knowledge of all of these things to say whether my product fits in that or not? And the reason they gave was most other orders that come from PCBWay in this case have this HTS code, which again, how do you fight this? I don't know. I'm still learning, but this is part of the process. Like, I got a package, I have to have it. There's no way it's going to make it back to China if I don't pay them or figure out a way around it. We're still working on a way around it, if possible. Otherwise, we're ultimately going to have to pay up. And a couple of personal thoughts on this. One, if the package declared value is less than $800, there is no tariff applied. I'm interested in understanding, if I had simply asked PCBWay, can you please break up my $8,000 shipment into 10 boxes of declared value $799 a piece, would I have owed any tariff? The technical answer, as far as I've seen, is no, but I don't know if that's true. So don't, like, as they say, don't take this as tax information. Don't take this as valid tariff navigation information. I'm learning as I go. Because they have my federal tax ID number, there may be some sort of aggregate from, they may say, oh, yes, you had 10 packages, but in aggregate, based on your tax ID and from the origin shipper, like they added up to more than 800, so you still owe tariffs. I don't know how that works. But what's interesting here is this is a case of something that like I had no like opinions about at all 10 days ago. It's like you read about the tariff war, and as far as component sourcing, I saw some minor increases in prices on things like resistors and transistors and chips and things like that, but it was nothing crazy. It was like, I don't trade war with China, like I don't know, who cares? That sounds like somebody else's problem. Um, to getting a you owe us $2,000, and it's like I care deeply about this problem and I have strong opinions about it, like overnight. It's funny how that works. Where, doesn't affect me, don't care, to now I care deeply because it's affecting me tremendously. And so these are some of the things that you have to navigate through. Now, I don't know how easy it will be to get back to. You know what? I'll just look it up because I sent it to a friend as I was um, ranting heavily about this. And this is where I'm going back to my statement I made earlier. The United States doesn't seem to care or like small business. I know that's a generalization and things, but I do want to share where that's coming from because I want to read to you a few of the exemptions granted in one of the batches of those tariff exemptions. And I want to see if you can guess who has all of the lobbying power and political, and who has all the politicians in their back pockets. So, remember, these are all very specific. Here's just an excerpt of some of the things that were in the exemption list. Seatbelt retractor assemblies, safety seatbelts, gas ignition safety controls, fabrics of man-made micro-denier fibers, brake bushings, stamped steel rings used in motor vehicle suspensions, brake pad clips. So it sounds like the answer to this problem is to become a largely influential giant company that has politicians on speed dial, where you can say, hey, listen, if you want that campaign money, the brake pads better keep coming into the country tariff free. Just saying. The auto industry obviously is one of these. There were several others where you could see industry patterns where industries with extreme lobbying power are on the exemption list. Those of us that do not have that power are not on the exemption list, and we have to pay money. But I'm still ongoing looking for ways of, are there valid exemptions that apply to the things that I'm importing that I can use to prevent this, or are there other options that I have through shipping trickery to go through this? And what's funny is the last thing that I've considered in all of this, and I say last, I've never considered it, not even for a second, how can I move all of this stateside so that I don't have to pay a tariff? That is not even remotely an option. I tried that at the very beginning of this process of, you know what, I'm going to try this whole made in America. Like, why not? Like, even if it's a little bit more, like, go my country. That's not a thing. Like, I found very early on, the cost was astronomically higher. 25%, forget 25%. You're talking 500% more expensive to do in the United States. And the quality was off the chart, the bottom of the chart. Like, it was awful. I had failure rates in the like 20 and 30% on printed circuit boards that I was getting stateside. Like, it's embarrassing. And it's not there's a 25% tariff, I maybe should look to move this stateside. No, we're still light years away from the quality and price that we're getting from China. And I don't want to have a discussion of, I know there's a lot of people that are, why that is and the problems with China. Like, that's a different conversation. I'm saying simply, I cannot, all those things aside, I cannot produce my products solely within the United States to avoid this tariff. Not because one, because the price alone, you can't sell something at $20 if it costs you $300. And that goes for, everybody likes to throw rocks when they live in the glass house. Like, your iPhone, as expensive as it is, would be like 4 times more expensive if it was fully made from the ground up in the United States. Like, that's just the truth of things right now. And so it's funny that what are the tariffs accomplishing? I'm not sure, because again, it's not something where it has me considering moving into the United States. And even the big players, the trillion-dollar companies like Apple, aren't doing that. They are in some degrees on a PR level. Let's be clear about that. What they're really doing is, how can we build a factory in a neighboring country that's not China over in Asia, get the same cost value, and not have to pay the tariff. And so, again, it seems like this is a war between countries financially, and I don't claim to understand it. All I'm saying is, from a small business perspective, this sucks. I'm having to figure out how to deal with it. And everybody else has got to figure out how to deal with it at this level, because again, at some point, cost matters. McDonald's can't sell you a Big Mac for $3 if it costs them $8 to make it. And like, the same principles apply here. Like, there are market forces of what people will pay for things and market rates of things, and that's driven by a global economy. And 25% complicates that. And so there's the update on what's going on, my 2 cents of how I feel about it. Frustrated. And just some things to be aware of. So if you're doing this, you might run into a similar thing where my partner pointed out something very important, which was, imagine if this had been $100,000 or $200,000 shipment and we hadn't realized this. Like, this is common knowledge for other people, and some people are probably watching this and like, duh, where have you been? Like, this has been a thing since 2018. You're right, and I just now learned it by hard experience myself. And so, not something that they're likely to teach you in your college classroom about international hardware company running. And so I'm paying. I consider if we end up having to pay the full $2,000, that's a credit hour in Chinese tariff education. And so, just part of the process that you have to go through as you're just trying to, build something cool that other people might like to have. And so, I think we'll wrap it up there. I didn't want to spend more than a half hour. I think I'm right about that on time, 27 minutes exactly. That's going to do it for this stream. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out if there's like a time where I can give a log each day or every few days of how things are going, because there's a lot going on. Like, I can't even begin to tell you about app development that I've been going through in the last couple of weeks. And so would love to share that and just, again, help other people to maybe think about things that they're not thinking about until they get a $2,000 bill from customs. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate everybody that's been following the journey, and even while I've been absent, following and reaching out to me and saying thanks. I appreciate all of you. I hope everybody has an amazing week, and we'll see you next time, whenever next time may be. See ya.